So just like yesterday's video, today I'm going to be playing a classic Shaman modified for the standard format. And it went pretty well yesterday. I did end up going 5 and 5 with that list. But I think there are some further improvements to be made. So unfortunately we can't play Azure Drake in standard, so I replaced it with Steward of Scrolls. But realistically, what is Azure Drake? It's 5 mana, draw a card. So I think rather than Steward of Scrolls, we can get a little bit closer to the Spirit of Azure Drake with Talon Fordring. Now, unfortunately, we can only play one copy of Talon Fordring, so we have to find another card draw minion to replace the second Steward of Scrolls. And there's not even another 5 mana one, so we have to dig a little bit deeper, and we can end up on Cage Match Custodian. It doesn't fit quite the same mana slot, but, you know, subtract the spell damage from Azure Drake, and then you cut all the stats in half, and it's basically the same card, right? And we already play a Doomhammer, so that's fine. And then, finally, I wasn't a big fan of this Defender of Argus, so we're going to replace it with Ragnaros. Darn it, we can't play Ragnaros. So I guess we'll just have to replace the Ragnaros with Alexstrasza. Big legendary minion that does 8 damage to the opponent. So yeah, I think these seem like fine substitutions for our deck. Now, there is one more change I need to make to this deck, and really, I can't believe I overlooked this in the first part. But we're playing Classic Shaman, right? But I picked King Rosticon as my hero. That's just not reasonable. Alright, so we fixed the deck and we're back on Thrall, so we should be winning more games now. My games with the previous version of the deck made Paladin seem like a pretty decent matchup, honestly, so I don't mind this. Definitely keep the Squire. Serpent Shrine Portal's pretty good as well. I don't think I keep Storm against Paladin, though. Alright, pretty good hand, I would say.
The light dims, but we fight.
Alright, nice little Squire fight. Picked up my Doomhammer, so the Cage Match Custodian won't be great if I ever find it. But Doomhammer is a nice card to have. Easy coin portal. Oh, Devolving Missiles is really good. I think the portal is better, though. Like, I can Devolving Missiles here, and then portal on 3, but then on turn 4 I only have 3 mana, so it's not like I can coin out a 5-drop anyway. I think this is just fine. And it seems like this can be maybe a Libram deck, so the Devolving Missiles can be better. Not sure what the Angling Rod means, though. I'll go Hero Power over Squire here, because unfortunately it looks like I might be going Hero Power plus Squire next turn. Or if I pick up like a Feral Spirit, then I can play the Squire alongside that, so getting the totem here seems fine. There's a pretty good chance that Dragon Tamer does actually draw in this matchup.
The light protects me.
Could be an Alexstrasza. Well, I found my Feral Spirit here, which overloads me for next turn, which isn't pretty. But it's good this turn at least. Pretty powerful. Is it worth devolving this board? Even if I get good hits with devolving, it's pretty unlikely to save my Mana Tide totem. I'll play it. I have another devolving missiles and 2 hexes in the deck. A comma.
I fight.
Well, unfortunately, I did give my opponent's Carriel Roam +1 health. Oh wait, no, Fire Elemental does 4 damage now, so that's not a big deal, actually.
The best defense is a great defense.
So yeah, this seems like a pretty easy Fire Elemental here.
What would Uther do?
Alright. I do like to see that 6 damage, but this definitely seems like a deck that could be playing Library of Hope, so not sure how much it matters. Combo.
Reporting for duty.
Definitely not playing Serpent Shrine Portal here. Seems like a good turn to get the Doom Hammer down, honestly.
Elements guide me.
I can use Wriggling Horror to kill the 3/3. Or I can just Doom Hammer into the 1/1. Next turn I have 6 mana, so it's probably just Halen. Could be Serpent Shrine Portal, though.
I wonder. Elements guide me.
I like killing the 3/3. 2/1's kind of bad here, but whatever.
This is not what we stood for.
Alright, let's find that other devolving missiles. I'm just so talented at this game.
This is not what we stood for.
Don't really love sending 4 damage into a Mana Tide totem. Maybe I shouldn't have, because I do have a lot of damage in hand. Could have set my opponents at 15 here. I have Alec here. I think this is fine. Giving my opponent extra draws or healing seems bad. I don't really know what my opponent's playing, though. Like, between Angling Rod and Blessing of Kings, it doesn't really seem like a Libram deck.
My blade seeks vengeance.
That hurts. Alec here is really good here, though.
Act now.
Unless I'm dead? Why are you hesitating? I see. So this Doomhammer does 8. Alexstrasza does 8. I mean, what if I just go Alakir, kill the 5/3, then the second hit of Alakir goes face? I feel like I'm not very likely to die here. That sets up for an Alex lethal. The other play is like Serpent Shrine Portal the Murloc and then Senjin Hero Power.
I wonder.
Seems like Alakir just does that, but better. I don't think Paladin... Well, I guess they could have like Crab Rider plus a buff that would be able to take out Alakir.
There's little time.
It's pretty specific.
I wonder.
I think I just go for the lethal setup.
Elements guide me. Take heart. The earth
That's really slow. Nice. Alright, so I have to hit a 1 in 5 with Ragnaros here.
Elements guide me.
The cycle of
Come on, Rag. Yes. I bet he's so salty at that 1 in 5.
Let's have some fun.
For Doomhammer.
Warlock. Probably just control Warlock if I had to guess. No real reason to keep devolving missiles, right? Early Squire is nice.
the light protects me.
They're not trapped. They're my pets.
Could devolve that to protect my Squire. I mean, it's like kind of bad, but I just don't really know if the devolving missiles is like worth holding in this matchup, but whatever, totems are good. I'll just make a totem. Taunt Totem also protects my Squire. And to an extent, Strength Totem did as well. Feral Spirit or Serpent Shrine Portal. Serpent Shrine protects my Taunt Totem. Feral Spirit is likely to be more stats. Serpent Shrine can go face, but it does seem like because of Overload, whichever one I don't play this turn is coming down next turn anyway. My opponent could play a Lucky Soul Hoarder this turn, which I could Serpent Shrine plus Squire to kill. The totem is pretty good against Cascading Disaster, but it's pretty useless against Hysteria. I think it probably makes more sense to just go for Feral Spirit here, but there are pros and cons between the two. That is definitely a reason to hold the Serpent Shrine Portal that I should have been thinking about. If I wasn't overloaded, I'd probably go Devolving plus Mana Tide here.
I fight.
It's a lot of damage. And it's actually pretty good into Hysteria. Bad into School Spirits. Mana Tide or Senjin.
I fight.
Let's just keep up the pressure. So I can kill that pretty easily with Senjin plus Fire Ellie. But I do miss 7 damage. I could put my opponent at 10 here with a pretty good board. They play Hysteria on Fire Elemental. That is pretty strong. I don't really care too much about the Ogremancer though, since I have Lightning Storm.
What to do? There is little time.
10 face damage. Oh, Siphon Soul. Well, my opponent wasn't supposed to heal 7 after I set them to 10. Wow, that's really good though. Pretty sure we're just jamming Doomhammer here.
Elements
Fight.
My opponent has 3 soul fragments. If they draw all of them, they go to 15. So yeah, my Doomhammer would not be enough in that case.
I know a soul when I smell it.
That was awesome!
Wow, that was a sketchy life tap.
Elements guide me.
My opponent could have died to Bolt or Serpent Shrine Portal by tapping there. I guess they do have 7 Soul Fragments in deck, but still. Yeah, let's just go double Mana Tide, try to dig for burn. I did find a Serpent Shrine Portal. And they yet again missed on their Soul Fragments. Opponent's at 6, and I have 8 damage. Opponent's at 9, and I have 8 damage.
Armor! Lightly used armor.
Opponent's at 13, and I have 8 damage. Well, this seems like a pretty good Thalnos Storm. And I guess if I'm playing Thalnos, I probably just launch the Serpent Shrine Portal.
I wonder.
I mean, I could go like Storm, Feral Spirit, Wriggling Horror. Put my opponent's at 9 with Doomhammer, and then I have like... No, if my opponent taunted and I drew Lightning Bolt, that would only be 8 by holding Thalnos. It's pretty good to play Thalnos here just for the card draw anyway. I actually don't know what the current card pool of 3-drops is. I know like Questing Adventure is gone, so that would be a reason to cast this first. That doesn't really matter. I don't know. I guess I could hit a Firebrand, and it's nice to not waste the spell burst on it. Alright, here comes the healing. My opponent hasn't corrupted Strongman yet, but I guess they could always do that this turn. But assuming no taunts, I do still have 4 damage. Okay. So I need 10 damage, but I have 4 for minions that it looks like is gonna connect. Oh, there's the Strongman to go with Jiraxis, sure. But Devolving Missiles is really good against that. Oh, that's lethal, right?
Hey, no cutting.
Elements guide me.
I have 1 more from Wriggling Horror if I need it, but I don't. Very nice.
Thrall versus Jaina.
You asked
The Mage matchup should be fun. I think Spell Damage Mage is becoming popular. No reason that I would need a Devolving Missiles or a Rock Biter in that matchup, I think.
time runs out on me.
Alright, this looks like Squire, Coin Spirit, and then Wriggling Horror. Really, really good opener for this deck. My opponent does have a spell damage minion from Primordial Studies, but I think it's quite unlikely I'm forced to bolt something here. Alright. Love to see a slow turn. Love to see the Phoenix. I think that deck does play Shooting Star. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, so I probably Wriggling Horror the 2 3 health minions. But, with 5 spell damage, it's probably better to buff the Squire. I think that deck plays like 8 minions, so I can actually complain here that my opponent got 2 spells off Refreshing Spring Water. Good hits off those missiles too. I guess I just play Feral Spirit here. It does overload my Talon, but I'm not in a rush to play Talon, since it draws a 9-drop. Also, I might be casting Serpent Shrine Portal and Lightning Bolt to deal with these Phoenixes, but we'll see. So my opponent could have like a Runed Orb here to kill Squire. Let's take a look at the 3-mana minions in Standard. I know like Firebrand is a reason to play the Serpent Shrine Portal second. I don't know if there's a reason specifically to play it first. Looks like a pretty even split between playing it first or playing it second. But I saw Unbound Elemental and I was like, damn, that'd be sick if I hit that. Didn't end up mattering though, because I just hit this 5-2. 5-2 is probably a low roll against that mage deck, because even without spell damage, they can just have a Runed Orb. Although they are down 1 orb.
Oh, it says explode.
Oh, my guy lived. Sick. Man, it's really tempting to get this 5 damage. Set my opponent to 13, 10. I have a pretty consistent Alexstrasza in my hand.
I wonder.
Kind of want to hex this thing so I don't have to deal with Solarian Prime. That deck has Egwin. It has Wrass. I don't think anything else is worth hexing. This is kind of weird because I'm counting on the Rockbiter dealing damage, but I'm giving my opponent a taunt here. But I have a Squire, I have a Talon Fordring I can play next turn. 2 Divine Shield minions are probably pretty likely to deal with the Frog. And I also have like Lightning Storm I can draw into. Maybe Devolving Missiles deals with it. Wonder what my opponent's hand is. Well, that's really good. We're definitely just playing that.
Elements.
Set my opponent to 11 here. I do not have lethal, so I could kill Blood Mage Thalnos. And like if I pick up a Bolt or a Rockbiter, I don't need this 2 damage. Setting my opponent to 11 doesn't put them in like Alexstrasza range. I think I'd probably kill Thalnos here.
Elements guide me.
My powers are never truly gone.
There's the Egwin. But on her own, she's not that scary. I could Rockbiter my opponent down to 3. So that like a Bolt or Serpent Shrine Portal beats Taunt, but I'm not really worried about Taunt out of that deck.
This is not what we stood for.
I think I just do this. Rockbiter is lethal. And if my opponent plays like a small Taunt, then Alex plus Doomhammer is lethal. Okay, no Alex, but I still have lethal.
Elements guide me.
Drew the Storm to beat a discovered counterspell. Love to see it. Alright, so with this updated version of Classic Shaman, I went 3-0, bringing my overall record to 8-5, which is pretty good, I would say. This deck was kind of a joke, but maybe it's actually pretty decent. As far as keeping with the classic theme, I don't really think there's much we can do. But if we step away from the gimmick, there are probably some improvements we could make. A noticeable one is, like, I think Spawn Pool Forager is probably just better than Argent Squire. That's not always true, like with Wriggling Horror, for instance. But Spawn Pool Forager on its own is just better against, like, the 1/1s from Hunter, other stuff like that. I think it's probably just a better card. And similar to that, we probably play one Lurker Below over Fire Elemental. The Fire Elemental is burn, but it's probably just a better card overall. Other than that, we're probably just looking at cards that are weak in the deck. And I guess really the only card that stands out as weak is Sinjin. I couldn't really find a 4-drop that I wanted to replace Sinjin with, but it might be appropriate to just cut Sinjin and Hex to play Kazakus. And then maybe you have 3 more deck slots, so maybe you just go like another Cage Match Custodian, another Doom Hammer, or instead of the second Doom Hammer, you can play a Whack-a-Knoll Hammer. And then you have 1 more deck slot. You could play Brukan in this deck. You do have Bolt, Storm, and I believe, yeah, Serpent Shrine Portal is also damaged, so... Oh wait, no, you don't want to play Brukan with Kazakus, of course. But you could maybe play Novice Zapper, that's a pretty good 1-drop, maybe just better than the Spawn Pool Forager. We could also play Diligent Note Taker in this deck. We do finish things off with Doomhammer Rockbiter pretty often. Diligent Note Taker can help with that. Maybe Landslide is better than Lightning Storm. Instructor Fireheart is just a good card. Marsh Spawn is just a good card. Storm Strike is a good way to deal some more damage with this deck. I think the Storm Strikes in particular look really good, so maybe we just go like double Storm Strike, and then we're gonna put the Kazakus in. And maybe just like a second Cage Match Custodian, so we can consistently find those Rockbiters, or find those Doom Hammers. Or maybe we go 1 Note Taker over the second Custodian. Something like this could be pretty reasonable. I think in the future I probably will play around with a less gimmicky version of this deck, but this is like the starting point for that.